So we start on an E note. That's the 7th fret on the 3rd string. We have a 3rd that's right here on the 2nd string. So this is our root. There's a 3rd right next to it, 1 fret lower. So it's on the 6th fret of the 2nd string. We also put your pointer finger on the root. You can go 4 frets above that, the 11th fret on the 3rd string, and that's the same notes. One more. So start on the 7th fret and then go to the 11th fret. And so when you're talking about fret differences, you always talk about the same fret as 0 frets away, you know. So this note and this note are 0 frets apart, so this is 1 fret above, 2 frets, 3 frets, 4 frets. People sometimes get confused about, you know, is this 4 frets because it's including that fret, or it's always not-inclusive. Yeah, because this is not 1 fret away from itself, it's 0 frets. So 4 frets away is like this, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can also just add, you know, 4 to 7 to get 11. Okay, so that's the root in the 3rd. We have a root here and a 3rd here, or a root here and a 3rd here. Okay, so what that does for us is you can work that the other way. If you know your 3rd is here, you can go down and get a root there. Okay, so let's find that 3rd up here again on the 11th fret. Let's take that one up on the 11th fret. So you can go down 4 frets and you get a root. Okay, now let's go back to that 3rd up here. And now look at it this way. If you know your 3rd is here, well, here's another root. Again, 1 fret away on the next string. It would be the 12th fret. So if your 3rd is on the 11th fret here, the root is on the 12th fret. On the next string, on the 4th string. So now look, if we take that, we can go 4 frets above that, and we get the same 3rd again.
4 frets above this one.
We'll take the root that we have, and on that same string, so if you're on 12, you're going to go up to the 16th fret. You got it, and we got that same note again. So let's go back down. From here, you can go from the 3rd down to the root. Okay, now from there, we can go up to this root on the 3rd string, the 11th fret on the next string. Yep. Now from there, we can go down 4 frets, and you get another root. We put you to the 7th fret. So over here, we know we can get the 3rd now on this next string, on the 2nd string. And if we take that 3rd, we know we can go down 4 frets to the root note on the 2nd fret. And then from there, we know we can get the 3rd right there. So now we've got a whole bunch of these roots and 3rds, just by using that one little tiny fingering. You have this, then if you go up to the 3rd here, well, that puts your root here, so you can go up to the 3rd here, that gives you a root here, you can go up to the 3rd here. Those are all the same notes. So we want to get that first little root and 3rd thing worked out. The other thing to get worked out is the 5th in the octave. 5th in the octave, so we're talking about, you know, numbers of the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The octave looks like this. If we go to that same number 7 on the 3rd string, here's the root. You skip a string and you skip a fret. So we're coming from the 3rd string, we're going to go to the 1st string. We're coming from the 7th fret, we're going to go to the 9th fret. Yep. Got it? Okay, so now the 5th is right here, right above where the octave is. Same fret, just on the string right in between. So if you look at this, here's the root, here's the octave, and here's the 5th. So you can think of that 5th as being up a string and up 2 frets from where we started. So instead of a 7, you go up to 9, you go to the next string, right? You go up a string, just one string. We're talking about the 5th now.
Oh, the 5th, okay.
Right here. Okay? And then you could also think about it as taking a note right here, the octave, and going down to the 5th. So you stay on the same fret. You got it? Okay, so when you look at it this way, you can see, well, I've got another 5th over here, because here's the root, right? Took that 5th right here. Go back to that root here. Now look, so here is another 5th. Here's the root, there's another 5th. Cool? So we can do that same thing with all those other octaves that we found now. We can go like this. Here's your root, here's your 3rd, right? Root, 3rd. We went down to a root here. Well, look, there's another 5th. So go down to the root here. Now look, here's another 5th right below it. Same fret. And here's another 5th right here. Here's your root. Go up a string and up 2 frets. And these 2 notes, this 5th, those are the same notes. Those are octaves. Cool? Cool? Okay, now let's keep going here. Let's take a look at where these octaves are. So if we have, this is an octave and this is an octave. Here's your root, here's your octave. Okay, so here's your root, there's a root right there, go up to your third. So if we know that's a third, here's your root again. Right here. So here's your root, here's your third. Now take that third right there, take this third, and there's another root right there. Yeah. Okay, so there's a root. So take a look at that root and realize, well, there's a fifth right here then. And there's also a fifth right here. Yeah. So look, what we're starting to do is outline a bunch of the same notes in different octaves in every place on the fretboard. And by using that little third thing, you can get from the root to the third. And then once you get to the third, you can find another root that's right there, and there you can find a bunch of other fifths, either by going backwards like this, or upwards like this. And we can find that same connection between the third and the fifth. So wherever you are, if here's a root, here's a third, here's a root, here's a fifth, well, the third and the fifth are always apart like that. So you can go wherever you want. You can go, here's a root, here's a fifth, and there's a third. So I can go, here's a third here, there's a fifth, well then here's a third here, and I can go back down the octave. That way I can find the fifth here, I can go up the third here, I can go find the fifth here, and you can find those same connections in every single position. So no matter what note you use to kind of shift up or down on the fretboard, you can always use the root going to a third thing to find the root note in two different places. And you can also go from the third and the fifth back and forth, because they're always going to be 3 frets apart. So if here's the root note, here's the fifth, well, there's the third. And you're always going to see octaves in the same way. Like here's the root, well, here's the root. So here's the fifth, here's the root. So I can go up a third here, or I can take this root and go up a third here, and I can go back down to a root there and get a fifth there. It's always within that same little fingering. As long as you know that little fingering backwards and forwards, and you know the two places where you can find the third. The third can be found here, or the third can be found here. Well, as soon as I got that third, I've got another set of roots there. I've got a root here, and an octave here, and a fifth here, and then there's a root in the third here. And I can take that root if I want to go back down the root that way.
So everything's based on the root. To find the third, you got to have the root to find it.
Yep. Or you can find the third if you know where the third is. Wherever you are at any given point, on any note, all of the other potential notes are in that fingering pattern. So if I just say, look, here's a root, well, here's a fifth, okay? So I know I can go down to the third there. Well, I could have also found that by going from the root here, or I can go down to the fifth, and then from the fifth, that always goes down to the third. The third always goes down to the octave. Now from there, I can go up to the third here again, I can go up to the fifth again, or I can take this, and I can go to the fifth here. Or I can take that and go to the octave. And once I have that octave, well, I know the fifth's there, I know the third's here, I know the fifth's here. And from the fifth, it always goes down to the third, so that all fits together. Or I can go to the third here, and if I find that third here, well, all of a sudden, I know that I got another root there, and there's a fifth here, and here's another third here, here's a fifth here, and there's an octave there. Now once I got that one, I can go to the third here, and I can find the octave there. All you really need to do, and to make it really simple, you want to know where the third is in 2 separate places. This one here, and then this one here. Okay. The octave looks like this. And in between is a fifth. So I can find a fifth either by going up a string to the fifth, or I can find that octave and go down. So if you remember also that you go down 3 frets from the fifth, you'll get to another third. Well, that brings you right back down to another octave, and there's another fifth. And from that fifth, you go down to a third, and from that third, you go down to an octave. Okay, so there's only a couple little movement patterns in the whole thing. They're all in that one little tiny diagram. They're all in this diagram. Root third, fifth octave, or root third, fifth octave. You just have to make those connections and actually practice finding them. So let's do it on an A. We've got a few more minutes here. We can just keep going with a couple of chords. So finding an A note on the... Cool. So here's your third. Now here's also your third. You've got the same note on the same string, 4 frets higher. 4. Got it? So there's your third. Yeah, try it again. Come up here. There it is. Okay. Now, so look. If we find this third here, I can go down 4 frets and find an octave again, a root. You got it. Cool. So now, let's go back up to this one. Now find your octave. Octave looks like this. Skip string, skip fret. So, 7th fret, yeah. Okay, so now we have another A note. The A note, remember, A note can have a 5th in between like this. There's a 5th.
Oh, okay.
You got it. Cool. Make sense? Okay, so now here, if we're on this octave, the root, there's another 3rd there. Yep. Now, if we take that note, we can go back down to a root over here. Press down. Go back up to that 3rd. Now let's find the root here. Think about how that works. This is your 3rd, this is your root. If this is your 3rd, you can find the root right here. That root over there. Look that up. So now look, if this is your root, let's switch it over here now. Here's your 5th. So you, remember the way you do that is you go up a string and 2 frets. That gets you this is your root. Up to the and remember, below that 3 frets is a 3rd. And that brings you back to this root. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Now another way to think about this is here's your root and here's your 5th, right? You could also get the root and the 3rd here. So find your root here. Now, so this is your root. You can go up to the 3rd here. You got it? Now look, there's your 3rd again. So you have a root, a 3rd, and here's your another root right there. This is your 3rd, or that's your 3rd, this is your octave. That's your root. Okay. So now from there, we can find a 5th by going this way or by going this way. That's the octave. The root goes like this. Skip a string and go up 2 frets. Yep. So look, now we have a root, a 3rd, and a 5th here. There's another octave. Now we can go to a 3rd there if we want. And then we can go back to get an octave here. So, yeah, makes sense?
Okay.
What that's going to do is lead you everywhere to every possible finding there is, and no matter what note you're on, if you know this basic shape, or and you can do it backwards or forwards. Like you can take this note and treat it as the root and go backwards, 5th, 3rd, 1, or you can take this note and go to 3rd, 5th, 1, and then you can take this note and go 3rd, 5th, 1, you know, or and you take this one. As long as you can find that 3rd again. There's that 3rd. Here's the root. Here's the 3rd. Here's the octave. Here's another 3rd. Here's the octave. Here's the 5th. Here's the octave. Here's the 3rd. Here's the octave. Here's the 5th. Here's the 5th. There's the 3rd. There's the 3rd. There's the octave. Okay. As long as you can find all those separate ways of connecting that one little shape, there's only a couple of them. Root to 3rd like this, or root to 3rd like this. Root to 5th like this. Root to octave like this, and octave to 5th like this. 5th to 3rd like that. So 3rd to open. Okay. Those are the only connections there are. Let me do them again. So here, it's, actually let's do it on E.
Yeah.
So here's E, there's the 3rd, E, there's the other 3rd. So if there's a 3rd, there's the other octave. Now if there's the octave, there's a 5th here, or there's a 5th here. There's the octave again. Remember, here's the 3rd, here's the 5th. So 5th goes down to 3rd like that. That 3rd can also go down again to the octave. Okay? So there's the root, there's the 5th, there's the root, there's the 5th. The one other note is the octave. So here's the 5th, here's the octave. Well, once you have that, you know octaves goes down to the 5th, here's the 3rd, and that goes down to the 3rd here. Or the, I'm sorry, the root here. So we can get a 5th here, and that goes down to the 3rd, that goes down to the octave. You can find all those possibilities. And there's only those couple, the ones I just went through, those are all the possible fingerings for those notes. And they will get you everywhere. Here's root, here's 3rd, 5th, here's the root, here's the 3rd, here's the root, here's the 5th, here's the root, here's the 5th, there's an octave, there's a 3rd, there's a 5th, there's a 3rd, there's another octave, there's a 5th, here's a 3rd, there's another root here, here's a 3rd, here's a 5th going up. If I take this and let's do the 3rd here, here's the root, here's the 3rd here, here's the root, here's the 5th, here's the root, here's the octave, there's the 3rd, and we can just keep finding our way all around. And we're going to put filler notes in. We're going to add some other notes like 4ths and 6ths and things like that. So like if I'm on this chord, like say we're doing Silent Night. So instead of going Silent Night, which is perfectly acceptable, Holy Night, and E, all is calm, again. The D. D, 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 A, 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 A. This will work fine. When you're playing with a band, people will love that. They'll hear a nice solid bass sound. Here's the A again. But to add a little more interest, make the music more interesting, and make your experience, the performance more interesting, we can do something more like this. Here's the A. 1, 3, 5, 1. E. Here's the D. Cool? And that's a walking bass line, all taken from those 1s, 3s, and 5s. This is going to take some practice. It's going to take a lot of repetitive practice. The good news is, play one song, even with 3 chords, you've got 3 chords to practice on it. This week, try the A note. It's on the 5th fret of the 4th string. Try the E note. It's on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And try the D note. It's on the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Try maybe G, C, D also, because you're going to see a million songs that have those. Those are 1, 4, and 5 root notes. Every single song in the world has some 1, 4, and 5 chords. You've seen that already as we progressed. In the key of G, those notes are G, C, and D. And as you get to do this, you're going to start seeing, okay, here's 1, so I can go. And then here's 4. And back to G. Here's 5. Back to A. Sorry, G over here. So you'll get used to doing those little fingers. That's what you want, is to get these fingering just ingrained, so you can walk to them. Yeah. And we'll just start adding little things. So instead of doing 1, 3, 5, maybe we do like a... Just add a little 4 in there. Cool. And that adds a little more of a passing tone, a little bit of a cool sound. Okay, so that's about 20 minutes of video. That should be enough for you to watch, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Does that make it clear?
Yeah.